is my world. Nobody slays like I slay. Come on, girl. Nobody slays like I slay. This is my world. Nobody slays like I slay. Come on, girl. Nobody slays like I slay. This is my world. I'm stunning. I'm going in. Where is my day? I'm going there. I'm stunning. I'm going in. Where is my day? I'm going
Ooh, let the 301 hum, bounce the bullets off your chest till the armor falling off. Oh god, all this gas making you cough, feeling caustic when I drop. Leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you a bot. Watch you fade like a thought, Skull Town where I bang. Watch your life, watch your drain, never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. 301 in my hands, different drop, same plan. To my squad, I'm the man, I'ma win this, no I can't. Sending shots, no spam, accurate, watch them slam, watch them run while they can, make them slump. Give me the loot, take what I want, all of my rounds, light like the sun, yeah I am the one, lighting you up. R301, you're all that I need, you're all that I want. We at the top, act like we scum, taking your life and leaving the crumbs. Do what we want, we get the dub, living that life, yeah R301. I got the sides, stage cog, mega civilized, no rock. Standing mad, more shots, standard stock, ready pop. I got the sides, stage cog, mega civilized, no rock. Standing mad, more shots, standard stock, ready pop. Ooh, let the 301 hum, bounce the bullets off your chest till the armor falling off. Oh god, all this gas making you cough, feeling caustic when I drop. Leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you a bot. Watch you fade like a thought, Skull Town where I bang. Watch your life, watch your drain, never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. Ooh, let the 301 hum, bounce the bullets off your chest till the armor falling off. Oh god, all this gas making you cough, feeling caustic when I drop. Leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you a bot. Watch you fade like a thought, Skull Town where I bang. Watch your life, watch your drain, never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. Ooh, let the 301 hum, bounce the bullets off your chest till the armor falling off. Oh god, all this gas making you cough, feeling caustic when I drop. Leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you a bot. Watch you fade like a thought, Skull Town where I bang. Watch your life, watch your drain, never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. Ooh, let the 301 hum, bounce the bullets off your chest till the armor falling off. Oh god, all this gas making you cough, feeling caustic when I drop. Leave your body in a pile, let it rot. Shield cells got a lot, watch you move, you a bot. Watch you fade like a thought, Skull Town where I bang. Watch your life, watch your drain, never getting off the train, never drop another game, yeah. I got the sides, stage cog, mega civilized, no rock. Standing mad, more shots, standard stock, ready pop. I got the sides, stage cog, mega civilized, no rock. Standing mad, more
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Friday. Welcome to the first edition of Series Recap, our weekly show where we recap everything that's been going on in Series E over the last week. My name is Yeso. If you don't know me by now, why haven't you been watching Series E? I'm here every day. But I will be your host here today. I've got a couple of very special guests joining me on the show here as well, live in studio. We will have Alex Valle and our man Jamerson joining me to talk about everything going on with Guilty Gear Strive and Apex Legends, and I'm super excited about that. Tons of stuff to cover here after the first 2 weeks of Series E, and I'm certainly looking forward to it. Now, if you guys are in fact new and you don't know who I am, you likely don't know exactly what Series E is, but I can break it down for you, okay? Series E is a professional esports open circuit across multiple titles. We've got Apex Legends, Guilty Gear Strive, and the newly minted Halo Infinite Series E. Now, if you want to compete, go play in the qualifiers. If you're one of the top finishers in qualifiers, you get signed and drafted by one of our Series E partnered brands. Now, what does that mean? If you're drafted, you get a monthly salary. You get to compete weekly for points and prize money against some of the best players in your title, and you continue to stay and hold on to that contract if you succeed in Series E. If you and your friends want to join in, if you got that Apex squad, if you're a top Guilty Gear player, or if you're one of those up-and-coming Halo Infinite talents, just head over to matchareno.com/ESA or head over to our website at esportsarena.com for more information. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about the first couple weeks here of the new seasons of Series E. I have a couple guests waiting to join me. We will kick things off with my friend Alex Valle talking about some Guilty Gear Strive. So let's get the show underway, folks. It's the first edition of Series Recap. Let's get it. Right, and here we are. Alex Valle joining me in the studio to talk some Guilty Gear Strive. Alex, always good to see you. We were hanging a little bit last night. You're back once again. How are we doing today?
Oh, dude, it's fantastic. We can continue to play and talk about fighting games. You know, typically it wasn't like this because, you know, we're all playing online.
Sure.
But now we can actually talk about it in a set. You know, it's starting to come back to some kind of normalcy. So it's a pleasure to be here, man.
Hey, my favorite part about having you here is just I feel like every day you come in with this awesome energy. You're always super excited, especially because I know the passion and love you have for the FGC. So honestly, a pleasure to have you here. We got a ton to talk about here with Series E Guilty Gear Strive. I do want to start at the top though to just talk specifically about how the format works for Guilty Gear. We have 6 players that have been signed and drafted. Okay, they played in the qualifiers, top 6 finishers made it in. And the way it works out is they get to compete every Wednesday night in that WNF bracket, open bracket, and then every Thursday, those 6 players compete against 10 invited pros in a 16-man double elim bracket, which is insane. And I mean, we'll get more in depth in the players we've seen later on, but the talent you have to compete against on Thursdays is incredible, and that's when you're really duking it out for points on the leaderboard, because if you finish top 3 at the end of the season on that leaderboard, you get to stay, you come back again, you don't have to worry about playing through qualifiers again.
Yes, dude. As you can see, it's incredible the way that it's laid out because everybody knows what a qualifier is, right? You enter the tournament to qualify. There's a lot of stress involved. You're playing with people you don't know where you're going to be seated with. Then you qualify. The next day, now you're in the pit. Now you're in the now you're in the pit with the best of the best, and it's a different type of stress. Yeah, you don't have to like qualify anymore. Now you're in, but now your first round is going to be a killer, no matter what. Whoever you're seated with that day, you know. that's how we have to do it, my man.
Yeah, it is a very stressful experience, but I think the players handling it really well. It makes for exciting action every week. I certainly enjoyed the show last night. We will get more into that a little later on, but let's start with Draft Day. If you guys have missed out on it, the 6 players showed up. They got drafted to the partner brands they will represent this season. Let's check out how everything went down for Guilty Gear Draft Day Season 1.
Back here, Draft Day, Series E. This time, a new little bit of a look. We're very pumped to now bring Guilty Gear Strive into Series E Draft Day. And on that note, we might as well just get it started. So I'm going to introduce the first player here. We've got player Razo coming up, but we got Splash, Vizio. Is it gonna? Oh, it's gonna be Intel. Heck yeah.
Yo.
We have our Intel production room and this whole staff that's in there. They'll be cheering you on big time.
I want to say thank you so much for supporting me, and that this whole esports arena, like everything for this has been incredible.
This is semi-random. So at the same time, we got Intel. Is it gonna be Razer? Is it actually gonna be Nerf? Oh, dude!
Oh my god! No. Just overall, I'm just like really happy.
That. Intel's already off. Razer's there. Nerf's off. Oh, is that? Oh, Team Excedrin, dude! Congratulations, man.
It does. I'm really excited, and I'll do my best to live up to the name.
And let's get it rolling. Just want to slow it down. But let's find out which one it's gonna be. Okay, Razer, Nerf's gone, Excedrin's gone. It's most likely, yep, it is indeed Splash, my man. You are gonna be feeling hydrated. That's what, here we go, nope. How you feeling now that you are Splash? Idiosyncrasy.
I'm gonna make sure I'm always carrying that pack of water. You know,
Love
these games are tough, you know, it's strenuous. You know, I gotta make sure all my people out here, we're staying hydrated, irregardless of the results.
I love that. So let's see it. Razer Vizio. We've got, oh, it's all clearly, oh no! I thought it was gonna stop on Vizio. Dude, you got it, Razer, my man. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling great.
Yes, sir.
I've always been a Razer fan, so.
Yes, sir. That's awesome. All right, this is gonna be epic. Man, I'm actually nervous. All right, woohoo! Vizio it is. My man, Jonathan Tene, congratulations, is now Vizio Jonathan Tene. Congrats, dude.
The ones that I really wanted were like Intel, Razer, or Vizio, so I'm happy I got one of the ones I wanted.
All the tech brands. Makes sense. It does make sense indeed. This has been Draft Day, Season 1. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you guys next week.
An awesome look there on how Draft Day went down. Obviously, all 6 players finding out who they would get to represent here in Series E and beyond during the season. It was a really cool event. And also, my favorite part, of course, was, you know, you and I, along with Jimmy, got to sit down and have some really cool in-depth discussions with all of the players. And it really stood out to me that all 6 of them across the board, everybody was incredibly excited about the opportunity, felt like this was really huge, not only for them, but for the FGC as a whole. And I was just really impressed. They were super humble and just so excited about everything that's going on.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, you know, it's for the FGC, it's a known thing where when people talk about things are sponsored or you're going to be a sponsored player, people are going to be skeptical a little bit,
Sure.
right? And then as the event approaches, they qualify. Now the brands are attached to them, and I don't think it hits them until they're officially like partnered.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, at least for the FGC, they have a history of a little bit of the curse where as soon as you're sponsored, because you're an awesome player, but as soon as you're sponsored, that first few tournaments, you don't do as well.
Yeah.
It's because of the pressure. The pressure, like, what do you do? How do you know, like the whole way you prepare for this has changed. So I hope the players now realize that, like, you guys have an amazing opportunity with the brands are just they're gonna back you up. They're gonna back you up. We're gonna back you up to make sure you get the most visibility, the most play time. Have fun, you know. This is the next step of your gaming career.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty clear that, you know, we all across the board, Level Up, Esports Arena, all the brands want these players to succeed. You know, the rising tide raises all ships, and I think that from what we've seen so far, just through, you know, the 3 weeks or so since Draft Day happened, I would say the players have stood up to that task and have been very impressive so far. So I think the response has been great, and we really haven't seen that dip, which I think is a credit to all of these players and how they've handled it all.
Yeah, I mean, look how well-rounded the brand partnerships are, right? You have from like beverage to tech to toys, you know, to everything, things that are at least common to our gaming lifestyle, right? Because it makes more sense utilizing these brands with the things that we enjoy in gaming.
Sure.
You know, like from laptops, TVs, you have it. You know, it's great, man. Everything looks well organized. So thank you guys as well.
Hey, happy to be on board with you once again. Obviously, I know Level Up and Esports Arena have been together for years, so it's awesome to have a new awesome project to be working on together. I think it's a match made in heaven here. So there is draft day. Obviously, all the players jump in. Now they know who they're going to represent. But let's look at the competition. We've got 2 weeks under our belt here for the season so far. Let's see how all of the action has broken down through those first 2 weeks.
And welcome everybody to Series E here, presented by Esports Arena for Guilty Gear Strive. He tried to bait the burst out from Dawn, but Dawn did not burst. There it is! Guts from Temkin, but throws the cross up. Oh, no! I think that's it! I think that's it! Not like this! Oh, he's still alive!
The PRC from Shine, as well as the Stalling Fall option in the air. I love the usage of the PRC to counteract Diaphone's PRC, but here is the wall break to start things off. Started here with the super wall break here for a bunch of
It's the meanie, unfortunately. Is she dead? Oh, close. Close. Oh, he woke up with the command throw? I thought he was going for the that didn't kill. And now Diaphone with the start here in this first round. Gonna get caught by the butt cheeks though. And here we go. Opportunity for Shine.
Okay, the node setup gets the overhead opening here. Go for keep that corner pressure here. Goes for the super, gets the wall break. Still not enough. The guts coming through. Can Shine dig deep to bring it back? No, the opening, the Oki from Diaphone is going to get that low mix.
And everybody, welcome to Esports Arena presents the Series E Guilty Gear Strive Tournament, week number 2.
Probably could have silly hit the bar to do so. PRC just to stay away, same play. The super!
Oh, is he gonna make it under? Is he gonna get hit?
Yes, sir! He got him!
Wow, but beautiful backdash to find the gap. Oh,
super! Right through the string, yo, got him! He needed this, he needs this momentum right back.
Her own wake up. Now, Mira trapped in the corner, the flash kick, just interrupting. You cannot try to find the gap. Clip and baits the burst out. That is probably gonna do it.
Oh!
Yeah, that's why he Beyblade. He wants that level 2. He got the command throw. He's gonna get the win.
This could happen though. So you see Hotashi be a little bit more careful. There's a whip punish on the far S, gets a knockdown. Hard addition, meeting fireball, wake up super for Hotashi. Hits without the full conversion. He's still got the 6H. Are you kidding me with the reach?
Oh, he got him with the sweep, and he's gonna be able to convert after that. Razo.
So to win this, to make the magic happen. 5K coming through, buddy spin, DP off the table. 2H, no sympathy or empathy for that bad DP. Oh.
Gets the cross up, makes it, wants to put him towards the corner. Yeah, gotta survive through the wall. Get some meter bonus here, but you can see Hotashi already sitting on a full bar. Did he do something? Oh, the flash
He
kick!
the super!
He knew.
Yo, Razo came in.
Look, he knew Hotashi could have PRC'd it, so he wanted to punish it. Here we go. Not gonna use the super just yet. Here we go, red RC to the other side. Nicely blocked by Hotashi. Right away, doesn't want to give Razo any kind of momentum. There we go, goes with the low option. Gonna stay in the front. Now comes up with the regular throw, PRC. Adds some damage to that back turn. Oh no, gets back thrown, and guess what? You are in the corner now. This is so dangerous to do it. The RC, super.
Hotashi gonna take this week's Esports Arena Series E tournament. Oh my god!
There you go. Hotashi proving once again why he is one of the, if not the premier Nagoriyuki here.
2 weeks of action packed into just a few minutes there. Honestly, hard to do that, but let's go back to the first week. It was Intel week to kick off the season. You saw Diaphone taking the championship there, but there were great matches and just great little kind of match-ups throughout that bracket. Was there kind of a standout that you want to talk about first?
There's so much, like you said, there's so much to talk about.
Guys got so many notes over here. He was just like, I'm stacked on things I want to talk about. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah. So, okay, first of all, we want to give a shout out to the invited pro players.
Yes.
Because obviously, without you guys, there's no show. I mean, we have the Series E players, but you guys are bringing the heat.
Yes.
Okay. And Diaphone brought the heat. But we'll get to Diaphone in a bit. Let's talk about the path, right? The first round was Diaphone versus Razer Dawn. Now here's the thing. It was Diaphone was a top finisher at CEO. Yep. So he came out pretty hot. And when he played Razer Dawn, that was an Eno mirror match.
Yes, it was.
Okay. And it went the distance. That one went the distance. So we're like, the first round sets the tone of the tournament, right? So we're like, okay, is Diaphone going to be, is Dawn actually going to beat him? Oh, okay, it was close. So we're like, all right. Diaphone moves forward. Then we have like Punk, right? Punk is super, super strong. One of the best fighting game players on the planet right now. And he went out early versus Stealthy, right? It was 3-0. Granted, Punk didn't play his soul. He tried out Amelia. That's what he typically does. He wants to explore some of his fun characters because he can play a whole bag of characters for sure. And then another highlight was Idiosyncrasy versus Shine. And typically it's Shine that really, like, out of the Series E Pro players, Shine is the one that gives most of the players trouble, including Razo. But Idiosyncrasy was able to put Shine into losers early, right? There's so much to talk about. So it's like the tides have changed because when we first started to talk about like what are our thoughts of the people that are going to win the tournament, and now you go, oh yeah, we got Razo, oh yeah, we got Shine, but then look at what the Series E Pro players are doing. This is the point, right? Yeah. So that was a good one, but then Hotashi versus Idiosyncrasy, the rematch.
Oh, the Nago Mirror.
Yeah, the Nago Mirror, the rematch from CEO happened.
Yeah.
And guess what happened? It was an exact run back where Idiosyncrasy beat Hotashi. And Hotashi is crazy at this game.
Hotashi's incredible. Hotashi won another bracket that night.
These guys don't stop.
Yeah.
Can't stop, won't stop.
I mean, and the other thing to talk about, you mentioned Punk there. We had high expectations for Punk. I think Punk was seeded first in the bracket, loses first round, goes down and loses bracket. What happened? And losers lost to Dawn in a full 5 games in that losers round 1 matchup. So that was, not only did Dawn take Diaphone to 5 games, then goes down, takes Punk to 5 games, and actually wins. Like, that was such a statement early on in week 1 that, like, hey, there are incredible players getting invited to this bracket, but the Series E pros are no slouches whatsoever.
So yeah, speaking of, remember we mentioned Shine, he went down early to Idiosyncrasy, but the power switch came on because Shine came back from losers early, right? Eliminating Razer Dawn, Adventure, Razo, got the run back versus Idiosyncrasy, beat Idiosyncrasy to meet Diaphone in grand finals. And that actually was another close set because Diaphone pretty much swept, minus the confrontation with Dawn, he swept pretty much the other rounds.
Exactly.
Like, he was undisputed. He was on fire.
Let's pull up the top 8 bracket too for week 1 because I think this will give everybody at home a good picture of how the bracket broke down later on in the show, because I think it is a point to make that Diaphone was just running through the bracket early on, but did run into some trouble late. Still ends up taking it over Shine. And if memory serves, I think it was a Diaphone reverse sweep in Grands because I think Shine went, if I remember correctly, I think Shine goes up 2-0 early in that series. And then Diaphone runs it back with the reverse sweep. But you can see Diaphone took out Adventure, who's a player I do want to talk about a little bit here during this section as well. But 3-0s against Idiosyncrasy in winners finals. And then we get again, that Shine versus Idiosyncrasy matchup in losers finals, and Shine gets his revenge.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, like, Shine is the only Potemkin player. And it's just like any really good grappler player, you don't really practice against them much because there's not that many of them. So you're practicing against the other top tiers. But when you're playing somebody that plays outside the box, puts you into that grapple RPS game, like, and when like the tournament life is on the line, it makes you play a little like different. Your butterflies and your stomach start being like, yo, I don't want to play against this. You know, like, how do I deal with this? And that's why Shine always puts that fear in you. He's just that one. He can melt your life bar just by, you know, a Mega Fist in the beginning of the round. You know, it's just he just such amazing reads. But it was such a great week one.
And I feel like a similar trait that Shine has to something we've seen from Adventure is you have to take that full health bar away. Otherwise, Shine is just as dangerous at 100% health as he is at 1%. That Potemkin is so good, and you can back him into a wall, and he's still going to threaten to take a round and a game from you no matter what the state of the game is.
Yeah, at any given moment, like, you have a big margin of a lead to, like, you'll never get that life back. You know, it's just, man, that's why I think it was just fate that Nerf picked up Shine. You know what I'm saying? So
it could have been better.
It
could have been better. So week one was awesome. Obviously, Diaphone comes out first place there, second place to Shine. Idiosyncrasy jumps in at third after losing that rematch in losers finals. And that brings us now to week two. So a ton of interesting storylines. Shine looking hot early. Even Razo getting into top four, but does go down 0-3 to Shine in losers semi. So that set us up for week two. And then week two got even more interesting because you want to talk about the invited pro players. We were talking about Punk and all them, but then guess who shows up for week two? We got K7 Show Off, CEO champion. We got Kizzy K, who is insane, top 8 at CEO. This bracket was nuts as well.
Yes. So the party don't stop. You know, they're pro players for a reason. And, you know, unfortunately, we couldn't get all of them in the first week. So second week, we got the pleasure of getting some of them. And just to see, like, how are the runbacks? Are the runbacks going to happen? You know, there's a lot of the continued storylines. That's the beauty of this. And Show Off, right? So comes into the tournament, but loses early. That's the surprise. We're like, okay, you know, we're expecting, you know, kind of like Hotashi going strong first in week one, but no, early. So it's still unpredictable, and that's a good thing. It's a good thing that you're not seeing the consistency right now. It's because the players want it.
Yeah.
All the players, the Series E players, of course, they want it. The invited pro players, they're not, you know, it's a big ego thing too. Like their stock is on the line. They can't lose in any invitationals. They can't lose in any tournaments. That's just the pressure that's on them. So let's talk about that week too.
Yeah.
So,
and we got the bracket up for you folks right now, so you can see how things played on late in the show. We were talking about Hotashi on that Naga from week one, and it showed up in week two as well.
Yes. So we'll talk about Hotashi in a bit because this is obviously his bracket. Okay, but like I said, mentioned before, Show Off joined but lost to Hotashi.
Yeah.
And eliminated by Shine.
Yes.
Right. And then the dark horse of this tournament, in my opinion, was Flash. And I was right. Flash had a really strong start, beating Razer Dawn and Splash Idiosyncrasy. Those are, you know, as I mentioned before, Dawn almost beat Diaphone the week before. So, and Ino is one of those specialist characters, not really popular right now because it's very high technical, but can bleed very, very easy. But beating Dawn and also beating Idiosyncrasy, so kind of makes it up to Hotashi. And that was the expected match that people wanted to see because they had a little back and forth in the Twitterverse, you know, like, oh, you know, what's an OG? Because Flash is an OG Guilty Gear player, and then he jumped on the bus a little bit late on Strive, but his experience really caught up with the current pro players in Strive. So he Flash did really well. Tempest also joined.
Yes.
So Tempest if you guys remember Tempest in CEO, he got a couple 100% combos on people. Well, of course, he got that going up. And actually, Tempest also beat Flash in CEO.
Yep.
So there was
Tempest is another player that made top 8 at CEO.
Yep.
So
Tempest is another player that made top 8 in CEO. And then Jonathan Tanay was also played in this bracket. You know, with him, he plays so fast. And maybe it's the background of his Dragon Ball history, but just the way that he's playing, I'm not saying it's bad at all. It's actually amazing, but I think he's playing a little too fast for the game. And I think once he kind of it's not really slow it down, but control the pace to where his opponents are like not able to really figure out what he's doing and not random him out in the middle of his rush down or his zoning. It's really interesting because many players, when they're playing you for the first time, they're gonna throw the kitchen sink at you, and he plays so fast that when you're trying to figure out what he's doing, you might catch him off guard because he's just doing it too quick.
I mean, I think we were talking it prior to coming on live on the show, and I think the way you put it perfectly was his brain is just ahead of the game.
Yes,
like the
absolutely.
game is playing catch up to Jonathan when he's playing because of that pace he plays with. And I think that's a perfect way to put it with the way he plays.
Yeah, and he plays Soul and he plays Zato, which Soul controls the screen by like rushing you down, controlling that space, and then Zato, like if you don't, it's character specialist. If you don't know how to fight against that guy, you're just blocking Eddie for days and days and days.
Sure.
And he, like I said, his mind is already ahead of how he's going to trap you. So it was great to see him play. Kizzy K, another great player, surprised us by not having the best of start, but I think assimilating to the level of competition right away. Because, in the beginning of brackets, you play people that aren't really seated high, you get warmed up, but then when you're starting and you're playing like the pro players right away, like you're caught off guard. And he started with Soul. He's known for Kai. So it was great to watch him play. Adventure.
Let's talk about Adventure, because Adventure stood out to me, the only Jacko player in the bracket, and we got to hear Cola and James talk about it throughout the night. You don't see a lot of Jacko players right now. It's a pretty rare pick, but the way that Adventure plays it, and as soon as he boxes you into the corner, the minions come out, and it's just, you're just watching, you're like, all right, like, we've got about 10 seconds, and Adventure's going to finish him off. Like, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, so let's talk about Adventure. Did lose early to Hitachi, but eliminated Eli the Curry, Vizio's Jonathan Tanay, Razer Dawn, and Flash. Okay, so that's like the
and Shine
and Shine too.
Took out Shine and loses semis. Adventure just blew up that lower bracket. It was incredible to watch.
Yeah, so I mean, we would love to see it in the winner side, and that's what Adventure has to work on. Adventure, like, capable, definitely capable by just eliminating those players, because some people don't turn it on until they're in losers.
Sure.
Right? They cruise control in winners. They see where they're at, and then, oh man, I'm almost eliminated. All right, let me
lean forward.
Yeah, let me lean forward. Let me make sure I drink more of that water, that splash water, and see how I do. So awesome play by Adventure, but then of course the person to talk about is Razo in this.
Let's talk about Razo.
So Razo, shaky start in the first week. I think a lot of the pressure was on Razo because Razo came out on top of the Series E leaderboards going into that first week, coming out of like an impressive CEO performance, but really couldn't pull it off in the first week. But I think that it's more of like assimilating to the pro players that are there.
Yeah.
Now, like, it's a lot of pressure. Week 2, oh, wow. So Razo really had he competed at Wednesday Night Fights. Got to get the warm-up. So Razo competed in Wednesday Night Fights, won that week, played in Series E, but also played in another tournament too. So Razo was fired up.
Played in 2 brackets, and I think you make a good point where you talk about week 1 being a quote-unquote down week for Razo, and that's still a week that Razo finished 4th in the bracket, and I think that just speaks to the kind of expectations that we and all those players have for Razo, because we sent out these surveys to all of the Series E players prior to the season, want to get to know them a little better, and one of the questions we asked is like, hey, do you have a rival? Is there somebody you're looking out to playing against? And almost everybody said Razo. Razo's sick. We always have good sets. I think they're gonna be my biggest competition, and I think that those kind of results and saying, yeah, 4th place, a bit of a disappointment for Razo, speaks to this player is super sick. And then you talk about last night, competed in 3 tournaments, takes 2nd place at Series E, wins the ICFC Season 2 from losers, getting the reset, and then even got 3rd in another bracket. So full schedule, and Razo comes out and gets all top 3 finishes.
Yeah, so Razo in this week's bracket wiped out the winner's side to meet Hotashi for the first time. And of course, Hotashi won, but like, this is the Razo that we are expected to see.
Yeah.
You know, we were expecting to see this type of this Razo play from week 1. And you know what? I think the momentum is finally catching in. It's like, yeah, it's time. Let's keep the light switch on.
Yep.
Let's make everybody know that, I'm here to win the season. Razo showed up. We had to wait a little bit, for Razo to win the other tournament, which is fine. And Razo told me, because I actually had a chance to talk to Razo before the recap show, and I said, so, any memorable matches, anything you wanted to talk about? Like, yeah, so the match with Stealthy was very close, and also Solstice, which Razo really enjoys playing versus those two. You can see Stealthy is one of the best Axel players that we have that is invited here. And also Solstice is very, very consistent, placing top 3 in Wednesday Night Fights every time Solstice joins. So he always gives props to those players. But more interesting enough, I asked, so what do you think? How do you think the event's going? And Razo's like, this is like a major every week. Like with the level of competition that we're playing, and it's only definitely going to improve Razo's like skill even further than just playing in the pools and then getting to the respectable top 8. To be in the top 3 of this Series E bracket speaks volumes, because now this is the expected high-level major placement that you're going to consistently see throughout the season.
Yeah, Razo, really impressive player, ramping up, I would say, at the right time. So definitely keep an eye on Razo as we continue. We do want to pull up the current standings for the Series E players, because as I mentioned at the top of the segment, these players are competing to hold on to that sponsorship, right? We're playing every week for prize money. Obviously, the pride of getting in the top 3, right, and the respect of winning these matches. But you're also playing to remain, hold on to that contract, hold on to that sponsorship. So you got to get into the top of this leaderboard to hold on to it. And so right now, we got Shine and Razo tied at 1st place with 60 points apiece. Idiosyncrasy in 3rd with 30, Solstice with 10, Dawn with 5, and Jonathan Tene yet to put any points on the board, but they're coming very soon. We didn't get to see Jonathan in week 1. Impressed me for sure in week 2. And it's just, it's crazy to look at this group of 6 players. And we talked about it a little bit last night while we were watching the show. The level of play between just these 6 players alone seems so close, right? The placements are obviously going to differ, but when you see any of these players match up with each other, it seems like we're just guaranteed to go 5 games every time.
No, you're right. Forget everything that we said about like where they were in the leaderboards during Wednesday Night Fights qualifiers.
Sure.
This is the show now.
Yep.
This is the show. They understand that. They understand what's at stake, and they're not going to let up. They're going to improve every week. So even though like I said, even though we expect Razo and Shine to be at the top, which they are,
sure,
at any given week, we're gonna see Jonathan Tene not slow his game down much, but really formulate like the craziest strategy we're yet to see, right? Dawn as well, showing the improvements with Eno, and I think Eno is one of the dark horse characters as well, because there's no other Eno on the board. You don't really see that character much. And Solstice is going to be the most solid out of all, and literally with Ramathal is one of the characters that is really hard to beat overall. Controls the screen well, crazy corner pressure, and Solstice is not going to be somebody that we're going to see in the bottom for sure. It's only up from here. And Idiosyncrasy definitely got something to prove.
Yeah.
Because that he
especially if he's going to have to deal with Hotashi week after week in the bracket.
Yeah, beating Hotashi, doing great overall. amazing performance in week 1. You know, week 2, definitely you see the climb of the competitors wanting his spot. You know, so this is why we have Series E, and to give these players this consistent high level training is only going to help them when they go to offline majors and offline LAN events. So I'm super happy for them. I really am.
I think the future looks bright for all 6 of these players. I'm excited to get to continue to watch them. But now I want to put you on the spot. We are going on a bit of a holiday break, but when Series E comes back for week 3, Alex, I'm looking to you. Who is, of those 6 players, the one that you think is kind of ready to pop off? Who you have your eye on coming into the next week of Series E?
Oh, I mean, it's the work ethic. I still see Razo just.
Okay.
The work ethic with Razo, and every time I talk to Razo, it's so excited. So excited. And the way that Razo talks to the competitors, followers on social media, and what's next. Always talking about what events they're going to enter. That's the type of passion that I can see a player continuing to do well.
Okay.
Right. I want to see that more from the other competitors. I know they're new to the sponsorship game and sharing their thoughts, but you need to really put yourself out there to show that you have confidence in winning this thing. If you want to win, let us know you want to win. Right?
And Razo's doing that for sure.
Razo's definitely doing that by entering multiple tournaments, placing in multiple tournaments, being respectful and saying, hey, am I going to be DQ'd if I enter these? I'll try to come back as soon as possible.
Trying to do the dance.
Trying to do it just reminds us, it's like all of us as champions back in the day, we want the best we want to take our, talents to the limit. And I think that Razo is doing that right now.
I think Razo's a good pick there. I'm a little conflicted here. I have kind of 2 on the top of my head that I'm looking at for predictions. And it's between Solstice and Dawn, and I'm going to go for Dawn, who I'm looking at. And it's really because I think while the placements haven't necessarily been there in the bracket, when you actually look at the name level of the people he's been beating in these brackets so far, the kind of belts that he's gotten to put on so far, I think Dawn is just right there, ready to have that kind of big pop-off performance in one of these Thursday brackets. So I'm looking at Dawn from Team Razer to have a big showing here real soon. I think he is right kind of on the verge.
Yeah, Dawn, like you said, versus Diaphone, very close, right? The big waves with Eno. Eno is not the type of character where, you get knocked down by that character, you're in a flying vortex over and over and over. You have to guess. You definitely have to guess. It's very annoying to fight against, right? Because it takes one note, one knockdown. Freaking dude, I fight that match every so often. I can see the frustration. So I see Dawn improving, and Jonathan Tene as well, because like I said, that kid's got so much potential and so young, but the brain is so we can't even understand it yet because of how fast it's going. So I see maybe in an event or two, we're gonna see the strongest Jonathan Tene we've seen yet.
I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, plenty more Series E Guilty Gear action coming in the future. Alex, I appreciate you coming in to hang out. I know you got some work to do tonight, so we're going to let you get out of here, but I appreciate getting to hang out with you and talk with you again. I'll be looking forward to hanging out with you once more when we return, but have a great holiday. Good to see you, my friend, and we're going to wrap it up. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, though, we're talking Apex Legends. I got my friend Jamerson about to join me in the studio, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Versus coming daily under pressure. Working on the plot and the scheme. The true side trademark is at the edge of your dreams. Yeah. One shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula, it can chemistry. The memories spark and motivate and make the industry shake. Get the balls to the brakes. I'm talking one chance at the soul. Going for the goal. It's one all, one shot. Now the future is yours. Let's go.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
Fruit, refreshingly sweet, but without sugar, 0 calorie treat. Now all our top fresh flavored splash.
It's fruit freshen.
And now we're seeing it once again, just like Game 2, slow down, but Fury
time and time again, and Cheese It. If they think they're winning it, chances are they're winning it.
So he gets thirsted by Zera Tricky as Hacula's going to come around the corner with the spray, and now it's just one player alive over here, and this was.
All right, everybody, hope you didn't miss me. I'm back once again, Yeso here, and I'm joined, as I said, by my friend Jamerson. You may recognize him from all of the Series E content you ever watch, his voice over all those great clips you are watching on those highlight reels. Jamerson, good to finally have you in the studio for once, my friend. Welcome.
Yeah, it feels really weird, I'm not gonna lie, because this has like been one of my few moments of like human interaction over the last 2 years, being in studio for the first time in almost like a year and a half for myself. And then seeing Frank and everyone else, I just forgot how to like interact with humans, right? Someone like puts out their hand, I go in for the fist bump, and I just look at them like, what do I do here? Like, what?
We're reprogramming Jamerson for society here once again. It's good to see you. Obviously, you have a huge history here with Esports Arena. You're an OG for sure, so it just feels right to have you back in the building here. And we're, of course, talking Apex Legends today. We kicked off Season 4 a few weeks ago, and let's check out how Draft Day went down. We had 6 teams coming in, joining some new partners, so let's see how that went.
All right, what's up, everyone? We're here for Draft Day. Guys, come on now, it's Draft Day. Welcome back, Kimchi Lee. Good to have you. Cruise in. And Steve, what's up, guys? Boom. Oh, is it Nerf? Is it Nerf? Boom! Excedrin. Congrats.
Yeah, pretty excited.
Yeah, you're excited.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Boom! Nerf. That's why you're excited. The sniper meta is going to be, we've got this rolling, I've got that rolling. Hopefully they say the same thing at the very end of it. Excedrin. Boom! Team Splash again. Draco. Come on, man. You know you're super hydrated there. Oh, it's green. It's green in the studio. Congratulations, fellas. You guys are now Team Razer. Who would have guessed it? Not me, that's for sure. But honestly, guys, that chair. Alrighty. Intel, Vizio. What do we got? Oh, it's clearly, oh yeah, Vizio. Dude. The best interviews with these guys. Oh, Team Intel. Congratulations, Team CMP. The entire production room is popping off right now because you see this? They're in the Intel production room, all supporting y'all.
Oh, I know it's gonna be a really big surprise to everybody, but I am in fact moving to TSM.
What?
Hey!
Hold on a minute. Wait, what?
What's going on? Look at that jersey. All right, there was Draft Day, our 4th one for Series E Apex Legends. Obviously, the show that started it all. Jamerson, I want to come to you. It was an interesting qualifier, a lot of new faces coming into the Series E. What kind of expectations did you have coming into Season 4?
I think coming into Season 4, we had high expectations for a lot of our squads, right? In particular, taking a look at Team Intel. I mean, that was a squad that we had seen throughout Series E in one iteration or other, either competing on Open Nights or competing on Pro Nights. And I think with their experience that they had found throughout the ALGS, it was definitely a team that, like, you had mixed expectations for because they didn't have, like, the best of the ALGS season, but then they finished off strong. And so when you see that like they've got this composition that's new, that's different, I'm just super excited to have that and like have that coming in every single week because it's a team that's trying something else. It's a team that's like going against the meta, and I absolutely love it when any squad, any team, any player does something that goes against the meta. And so I think I put a pretty high expectations on them. And right now we're just waiting for them at this point to like really succeed. And then of course you always have to run the expectations against like past rosters, right? It's like, okay, so we've seen Team Intel in this iteration come in as Ghost, this team iteration, like one of the players moves on to TSM, and so it's just like, are we gonna see like this Team Intel also do extremely well? We'll see.
Does the Intel buff stay around?
Yeah.
And early returns, we will go into it more in depth a little later, but looking all right so far. I would say still looking to fill those Intel shoes a little bit, but the first couple weeks have been all right for Team Intel. I certainly was keeping an eye on Team Vizio. Obviously, this is a squad with a ton of history. Phony and Fury have been playing together forever. Season 2 champions, now with a new third, and obviously the team with Scissors competing in the ALGS Pro League. I definitely had high expectations for them, and they have certainly been fun to watch so far. But before we get too much into the weeds with all of these teams, as we already said, 2 weeks are in the books, plenty of action played so far, so let's see how that has all gone down to start off Season 4.
That's right. Welcome, everybody, to Series E Season 4. It's the opening night. It's our first one for the season, and I'm super excited.
We drop in right now, game number 1 of the very first day of Series E Season 4.
The entire time, but now he has the heal up. Dake finds the angle off that steroid.
Oh my God!
Really, Fury connect. Taking him out. It's a 1v2. It's a 1v1. And oh boy, Fury making up the lost time with this Kraber. Enemy taking time to hit that bat. They're stuck on the low.
Let's go!
We've seen this before. Kimchi Lee gets the knock on to Zen, who is trying to take to the skies. And there it is.
The edge of this ring. Vizio are in full control of the lobby, though. 3 teams left, and they're about to whittle it down to 2.
Now it is a full 3v3, but have they been able to res on the other side of this one? Cody caught out in the middle of nowhere, and now Fury, he doesn't have a G7 Scout or the Kraber, but he does not need it. Petty Boss falls, and Vizio do it big here in day number 1. 4 wins overall. Oh my goodness, that is one of the biggest leads we've had.
Madness was taking a lot of damage from behind, and now Esports Arena is going to be loving what they see as the silver.
Oh my God. They just farm up the damage underneath them. ESA, they're going to drop down shortly. They already know that they've won this game. It is a matter of cleaning up the kills and shooting you out of the sky. ESA, 1 remaining member for Exit, though, might be able to clutch this out. So both ESA and Complexity have to play carefully. They take out that rat, and now it is a 3v3 against each other. ESA clamber over the wall, throw down the dome, and take the fight from the low ground and make it so easy. From the defensive bombardment, continuing to throw shots into this low ground, though. The 3v3 is in their favor as 2 big Peacekeeper shots connect from Madness, taking down Lucas. And here, it's a matter of cleaning up. The numbers advantage is in the favor of Ghost, and they will indeed make Spectres of Noble, sending themselves to a win.
Wow.
2nd place. Not bad.
All right, here we are for Series E Season 4. It's week number 2, and I got my boy Why Not on the broadcast.
Our multiple nades, Vizio are looking really confident. Looks like you wanted to close the gap. Both bubbles already out. Peacekeeper gonna hit for 40. This man's going up. That's 109 beautiful shots coming out of Fury.
Now the bubble has been used. See, they are having a good time despite being down a player. Oh my God! You can't keep getting away with this.
Vizio at the moment. The Kraber actually still in the hands of Fury at the moment. And look at the collapse coming in. Prodigy Ace is going down to 1 shot. They're going to take advantage of this one. Multiple players actually going down. Vizio going to collapse, and that's going to be back-to-back games. Vizio are looking so good.
The bubble's already been used by Phony. Now things have turned around onto Vizio. Stick Drift OP might try to force the issue here and actually push onto them, but take a look at the kills coming out. It's going to be all Vizio on the kill feed. Should be a 2v2. There's a knock on the other side. Fury tries to go for the peak, but again, it's about slowing things down. Here comes out the peak, and now Splash will lose out on 1 more. Vizio will get the 3rd win of the evening, and it's the 2nd win in a row in 2 weeks now, coming out from Team Vizio. Oh, they were actually really close to getting the triple digits. Active here in the early game. This is the first first time that they haven't been. But Xset now in a fight. That's Nerve. Oh, going down. The Clarity getting the knock on to one member. As 100 Thieves playing this one out as a duo right now, but they are fragging out. They're charging forward to get these kills. And 100 Thieves might be able to do it again. There they go. They'll take game number 5. They're just going to allow them to fight this one out and just drop onto the last team remaining. Team Liquid on the verge of getting this win. We'll see if Esports Arena can turn things around, though. And they don't take any damage up against TSM. Liquid now find themselves inside the gas. They force out the bubble here. And take a look at that. Esports Arena take almost no damage and finish them off. Esports Arena will take the final win of the day. Xset who get the win overall. Complexity coming in a close second.
Jamerson, tons of action over the first 2 weeks. Obviously, 4 whole nights of competition. We're going to go a little further in depth with the open night stuff because I know we want to talk about Team Vizio quite a bit. But let's start with Pro Nights. You already hit on it a little bit as we go back to week 1. Ghost Gaming coming out on top. And that leaderboard, as you were talking about earlier, pretty heavy on the Intel representation up there at the top.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Team Intels that we have, right? The last 3 seasons, we've seen them go on to do some amazing things. And of course, again, I want to say congratulations to Verhulst for getting picked up by TSM. Huge. I mean, Tyler was super excited about it. Tyler is super excited about Esports Arena's current performance right now and the ALGS as well. And it's just, I don't know what it is. Team Intel just always showing up.
Yeah, honestly, incredibly strong. While the squad wasn't able to grab first place, they still looked really good. Got a couple of game wins under their belt last Wednesday, and they continue to be a threat. And I think the thing that's impressed me the most is it seems like overall the integration of Noct into that roster has gone relatively smoothly so far.
Yeah, one of the great things about adding in Noct is that, you know, he is a turnkey player, right? Yeah. He's just filled in so many roles across so many teams. He's always kind of been like that ringer for you, right? He's like, sure. Hey, we need to win. Can you come on over? And like Noct shows up, and he has shown up time and again. So it's so surprising that he somehow got dropped from his roster. Like, what the hell happened there? Why would you do that? And then, of course, there's growing pains. The last 2 evenings of like the ALGS for Team Esports Arena weren't as great, but they did have middling performances though, right? And so for, I think, for quote unquote a new roster, they performed quite well, and I only expect them to get better because now they have like a much deeper roster depth with Noct that they can run so many different compositions that he's going to be able to provide the same kind of fragging power that Verhulst did once they get more comfortable with each other.
And I think one point to make too is that Noct wasn't a Valkyrie player prior to coming into this roster, has adopted that legend, and so that's also going to add a little bit extra to those growing pains incorporating the roster. And obviously you talk about earlier this team kind of being on the forefront of defining the Valkyrie, Gibraltar, Caustic meta, along with Sentinels and a couple of other squads. So seeing him integrate into that has been interesting, but I think there is high hopes for this roster in the future. Obviously, we'll get to see them in the North American playoffs next month, which I'm incredibly excited about, but they had a good showing. And of course, have to mention Ghost Gaming, which is Season 2, Team Intel, grabbing first place. And this is one of the best finishes we've seen from this roster since they went to Ghost, because that's another squad that has had some ups and downs, but now they're incorporating Madness into the team, and that is another player that seems like is a great fit for this squad.
Like, if you look at it individually, like combine all of their earnings together, like Six and Madness, some of the highest, right, in ALGS, other than like TSM.
Sure.
But
Goes without saying.
Yeah, TSM, you know, like they had a head start. They had a head start. Let's be real here, right? But like combine Six, add Madness, it's absolutely insane. I think the things that they're doing with the roster is really fun to look at because, you know, Six is supposed to be the main IGL, and then you have like that other brain. You're adding on Madness, who also comes with so much IGL experience from CLG, but now he's able to kind of open up a little bit more on the Wraith role, right? Yeah. Or like if he's that forward scout role. And so I think like having less things to really worry about and allowing someone else to do the macro decision making for you while you're trying to find these openings, I feel like Madness can definitely frag out. It's just about trying to really bring it together, and it's good that they were able to do it last week.
Yeah, really letting Madness loose, I think, is a good thing to do. He's an incredibly skilled player, and I'm looking forward to the future of that Ghost roster. Now let's jump to Week 2 Pro Night. Xset winning 2 nights ago here, and this is a squad that I feel like were very consistent performers during Season 3 on Pro Night. They had a couple of really good top-end performances there, and they were one of those squads where, like, when you think of the top-end pro teams, you're thinking of the TSMs, the Liquids, all of those of the world. And I feel like XSET doesn't enter that conversation quite as much as they really should, because they look like one of those teams really poised to take a step to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about XSET was that they're a very strong macro team, right? We know that they can call the zones. Like, if I'm ever on a broadcast and XSET's there, I'm going to be looking at their pings, right?
Yeah.
If I'm ever unsure of the ring, I'm hoping that, like, production goes over to XSET. They're on their map. They're on their pings. It's like, yeah, so I think the ring's going to be pulling there. Exactly where their pings are. I don't know. I have a feeling about that for some reason, right? XSET are excellent macro callers. The problem was that they ran into the same problem that TSM did. They would rotate early. They would do it at a deficiency in terms of utility, equipment, everything, right? So they'll run to center zone with white armors. TSM learned how to do that because all three players on TSM used to be are excellent fraggers. They can farm up their armors. XSET, now in this new meta, you can't really do that without the extra catalyst of like a Loba, which is what they figured out, which is the newest thing into their composition that really helps them out. Loba, now you have extra ammo, you have extra heals, you have extra nades, and that helps you so much if you're trying to play center zone, because if you run into center zone and you have white armors, you don't have to just rely upon like whatever ammo you started off with. Now with Loba, you can just continually top off. That ammo converts into armor, and if you don't get the ammo, you can steal someone else's armor. There's so many ways that this Loba works as like a fail-safe, like as a fallback for you, and like as basically extra insurance. And I think now that XSET is able to set that game plan to motion and really converts on their game-winning positions more often, they're going to see more and more success.
It's definitely looking good. You talk about Loba doing some good work for XSET. Another squad that it has done wonders for is Team Vizio. We've skipped past Open Night so far, but we do want to talk about Team Vizio. But let's take a look at how they crushed the competition over the last 2 Open Nights.
Says this gun is enough. It's to drop down onto them here as they get the connects. Messiah will fall from Team Nerf along with Fearing Live. And you can see on the other side, Vizio are trying to take advantage of this, but Absolute Monarchy have not taken that much damage. They have an opportunity to hit the back. Fury still with the 1 shot left on this Kraber. Could be the difference maker. He hits. That's the 123. That's the ghost signal. Vizio slide on down. They lose out on 1, but it's a 1-for-1 exchange, and they have the pressure of the ring as well. Vizio will take game number 2 here in Series E. Moves from cover to cover. That defensive bombardment forces out the bubble early on. You can see they're not trying to just stack on top of each other, leave themselves vulnerable, but ultimately they lose out on 1 more. The defensive bombardment takes out Cody, and now it's a 2v3 Fury connecting once more. It's a 2v2 as 1 falls on the side of Team Vizio here, but it looks like they finally secure it. Number 4 on the verge of going Vizio's way as they try to chase down the last member. It's Mooney falling here. Vizio with a second win a day, and with Lazarus going down early, that's going to be a build on the lead. Now they are well set to try and take first place overall. But the ring is closing in behind them. They have to drop down, throwing down the bubble, and Splash turn around onto them. Lazarus get a knock onto them, but it's a trade as Splash pick up 2 onto them. And now Vizio looking to clean up. Razer looking for any kind of scraps. They will pick up some kills. They secure second place, but it's now a 3v2. Vizio don't even need to have a Kraber, but Fury has a scout at the very least. They understand they have the mad advantage. They'll take the time to reset. Pony takes a lot of damage though, but it gets the knock onto Firsty. It's a 3v1 to finish it off. Vizio with the repeat win. That's 3 today for them, and it looks like they are unstoppable.
At the edge of this ring, Vizio are in full control of the lobby though. 3 teams left, and they're about to whittle it down to 2.
Now it is a full 3v3, but have they been a little res on the other side of this one? Cody caught out in the middle of nowhere, and now Fury, he doesn't have a G7 Scout or the Kraber, but he does not need it. Petty Boss falls, and Vizio do it big here in day number 1. 4 wins overall. No finish lower than 3rd, I don't believe, and they've got the 100 bomb to boot. What a way to finish off the day. Be able to pick that one up. That was turns from Nerf. And now it's the final 2 squads remaining. Team Intel versus Team Vizio. Our partner squad squaring off. The bubble has already been forced out. You can see Fury joining up to make that a full 3v3. They get the first knock on the Petty Boss. They'll find a second one as Fury picks off Mooney. And there it is. Team Vizio waking up once again in the second half. And now they propel themselves possibly into first place. It's the final 3 squads remaining as Casellas gets a knock onto Hambino. Unlucky, trying to finish off this fight as quickly as they can, and they do in a relatively clean fashion. So now it comes down to the final 3v3.
And we actually have Unlucky, looks like, versus Vizio at the moment. The Kraber actually still in the hands of Fury at the moment. And looks like the collapse coming in. Prodigy H is going down to 1 shot. They're going to take advantage of this one. Multiple players actually going down. Vizio going to collapse, and that's going to be back-to-back games. Vizio are looking so good
right now, but Fury is ultimately going to have to drop down very shortly. There's a knock onto Dracos from Splash as well. He's taking a lot of ring damage, but he does have the bracelet to get him to safety, and somehow Scissors goes down. The bubble's already been used by Phony. Now things have turned around onto Vizio. Stick Drift OP might try to force the issue here and actually push onto them, but take a look at the kills coming out. It's going to be all Vizio on the kill feed. Should be a 2v2. There's a knock on the other side. Fury tries to go for the peak, but again, it's about slowing things down. Here comes out the peak, and now Splash will lose out on one more. Vizio will get the 3rd win of the evening, and it's the 2nd win in a row in 2 weeks now, coming out from Team Vizio.
A nice long look there at Team Vizio, who has been crushing the competition on open night so far this season. Back-to-back victories the first couple of weeks, and a combined 209. Oh my gosh, don't make me do math on the spot, but 209 points.
Now you know how I feel whenever I try to do the scores in my head.
Right, you're trying to get
like,
in before the bubble and leaderboard comes up. A combined 209 points for the squad on open night so far. We got a good look at the 7 games that they won between the first 2 open nights we've seen. Jamerson, what has stood out to you so much about Team Vizio so far?
So before this, we were talking about XZ and how they try to play around the Loba, right? The thing is, Vizio do it much differently here. They're not as focused on the macro. It's about positioning more for the frags, right? And so they find these excellent positions where, well, you get the Kraber into the hands of Fury, and he's able to open up. They play a lot of the slow side of zones where they're not going to be running into too many squads, but they can utilize their utility, utilize their economy to try and bully teams away instead of having to do the same thing from center zone. They do it from basically around the outskirts of a lot of the fights, and so they create a lot more space for themselves in that regard. And in doing so, they don't leave themselves as vulnerable, right? And I think one of the great things is, like, Fury has found a way to play very frag heavy with that Loba, which typically I don't think as many people were expecting. But you saw there in one of the clips where it's the last fight, they're getting pushed, the bubble's down on top of them, and he just bracelets right on in because he knows that's the decision we have to make. And so it's just, they've really figured out how to not just run this as like a center zone squad, but also as like a fighting squad during the mid games and during the late games.
Yeah, we can take a little bit of a deeper look here because one game that you pointed out on Tuesday night was Game 4. It was the first win that really started that run to end off their 2nd open night victory. So we've got this up here for you here. Things start off, you mentioned, hey, we see them mid-game. They've got white armors. Things starting a little slow, but you'll see as the clip progresses here, they start to farm up. You're using the Loba ultimate. You got the Black Market Boutique, and the next time we see them, they're going to have a couple of purples, they're going to have a red armor, they're going to be set up and ready to go, and that's when they're in their sweet spot and they can really make things happen.
Yeah, like we said earlier, the nice thing about the Loba Ultimate, the Black Market Boutique, is that, you know, sure, you might not be able to get the armors off of it, you might not be able to pick up a full purple or a full blue or something, but you pick up ammo, and then ammo ends up converting into the armor later on. So there are lots of different ways that this composition makes its way into the late game. You don't have to just be fragging out. You don't have to be fighting for everything. You can still play this one passively, but be involved throughout the majority of the game, which is why you see them picking up the charge rifles or the sniper rifles, because they can go ahead and use that and then instantly swap without having to put themselves into a vulnerable spot to change weapons.
Yeah, and we see them right now. Obviously, they're at top of the sniper post. Not a ton of squads left, but they're just getting prepared, right? They're getting all the supplies that they need. They're going to be well equipped to take the late game fight. And then obviously we get to see as soon as they're ready to go. There's only 3 or 4 squads left. It's go time. They're ready to go for the push, and that's where you start to see. You talk about that bracelet, and this is the specific game where you see Fury bracelets into the bubble, says, okay, let's go finish the game here, and they're able to take advantage of it here. This is where that end game clip starts, and they start to really feel comfortable. And I love, I watched this whole game back just in preparing for the show, and you can see that incredible patience, that edge play. They're like, hey, we don't have to force anything. We have the utility, as you mentioned, to get ourselves prepared to succeed in the late game. And then as soon as it's time, they're ready to go. And you have the fragging power. We'll look at the stats here a little bit more in a moment. But when you have Phony, Fury, and Scissors, all of them can show up and perform. And you're very confident going into these late game fights.
Yeah, and the other thing is, though, like, you feel confident. When you have the heals, right, when you have excess heals as well because of the Black Market Boutique, you kind of posture a little bit more better. And, like, that's why you're seeing Fury really being aggressive with this, with the Loba, because he knows he has the heals to trade. And so anytime he, like, chips away at someone and they chip back, he's going to be able to get the resource advantage, right? He's bleeding out other people dry. And that's what you do with the Black Market Boutique that they do so excellently. And, of course, also being able to get the world drops with it, being able to get the G7 Scouts and the Kravers almost every single game helps as well.
I mean, I had that little PSA on the first open night show. Don't get Fury the Kraber. You're not going to have a good time. And at very least through 2 weeks, nobody has quite learned on Tuesday night. So we'll see how things pan out in the future. I do want to pull up, though, a graphic here. We pulled some of the stats here for these first 2 open nights. So this is just the stats from the 12 games that they have played on open night so far. But I think it paints a very dominant picture of Team Vizio and what we have seen from them so far. So you can see it up on the screen now. 104 kills. Their average placement through those 12 games, 3.75. And the team is contributing as a whole over 4,000 damage a game.
I feel like the craziest part is that the average placement is so low because maybe there was one game or two where they ended up in like 15th place or something.
Yes.
And so the average is just brought down by one game. That's the outlier. And that's the only reason why it's 3.75.
Yeah.
But if you take a look at that, 104 kills means that basically on those open nights, half of their points are also from kills. So it's not like something like maybe you would expect out of another local team like Exit, right? Where more of their points are coming out from placements than anything else. Right? This is a team that is looking for fights. This is a team that finds fights in the mid game. They use that. They make sure they use that Loba ultimate to be able to find the guns, to be able to steal kills away if they need to, and stuff like that. So they find ways to just exploit that and be able to basically stay active all in every portion of the game.
For reference, 7 wins, which we already highlighted. 9 of those 12 games have been top 3 finishes. They have the 7 wins, a 2nd place, and a 3rd place. Those 3 outliers that you mentioned, I think, are a 15th, a 14th, and a 6th. So they are consistently getting into those late circles. With the Loba that you mentioned, they are well equipped to deal with it, and then they have the fragging power. I think the biggest surprise to me has been, obviously I know Scissors is a good player, but when you look at Fury and Phony, you would be like, yeah, it's probably going to be one of them, and you would maybe lean towards Phony as that leading fragger. But actually, on those 2 open nights, Scissors leads the way in kills, has 39 of those 104, and so has played a very significant part in the success of this squad early on.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. But I mean, I think it's expected of these players. We've seen them, like we said, from one iteration to another. Back when they were the Happy Campers, I believe that was the name of the original, right? If I remember
names,
correctly,
right? Pony, Pony or Phony Gang. Now they're W. So all over the place.
But so they bring the experience. We've seen them, right, time and again. But now they're finally finding the success, and I think it's well deserved. And I think it really kind of, with the same story with Team Esports Arena, it's that they're kind of forged in fire. They're making their way through the competitive scene, whether it's here in Esports Arena or in the ALGS, and they're able to get this experience. And so, like, it's well deserved, but you can tell that they, like, learned it along the way, that it was all growing pains leading up to this.
They've definitely cut their teeth in a ton of competition. You want to look at a squad that has played a ton of games against top squads, it's definitely Team Vizio. They've got the experience for sure. Let's look at the just overall leaderboard now, because this is what the teams are battling for. We talked about it with Guilty Gear. It's the same situation here in Apex Legends. If you want to stay, you've got to get to this top of the leaderboard. And of course, Team Vizio, no surprise at the top with 264 points, followed up by Team Intel and Splash. And then it's pretty close right behind. I mean, 6th place Team Nerf is just 16 points behind 3rd place Splash.
Yeah, I mean, this is honestly, like, Team Vizio's early performance really does remind me of what Team Intel was doing last season, right? Where they were averaging anywhere between like 80 to 100 points on the open night, and then we're still looking for them to convert on the pro night, but on their first outing for Team Vizio on pro night, it was much better than what we saw of Team Intel last season, right? Team Intel were basically, I think they were averaging around 20 points on pro night. But so far for Team Vizio, it's about 30, 35-ish, I think, between our 2 pro nights so far. So already we're seeing a better, I guess, like return on investment for them in regards to the pro nights. And so I think that is a better sign overall. I think right now, the big worrying factor for me is that a lot of teams are starting to explore that Loba option, and we always talk about it in Apex Legends. The more a composition is used, the more a specific legend is used, the more popular they are, the weaker they get. And Loba is one of those where that's taken to the most extreme of that, right? Because you're just gonna it's like a, well, I guess it's thematic, but it's like Naughty Christmas, right? Where you're just like stealing gifts from each other. So it's just gonna be people like black market boutiquing this and that and that. It's just it's gonna be so weird.
I'm waiting for the future when I open Apex Twitter after a day of ALGS competition and I see a ton of tweets of people complaining, hey, we wiped this squad, but by the time we got to the death box, all the good loot was ripped out of there by all the Lobas nearby. I feel like that's the future we're maybe working towards. I don't know which meta player's going to hate more, the Loba meta or the Valkyrie Gibraltar caustic meta. I think there's plenty to complain about there. One thing I do want to make sure we talk about before we get to predictions, because you mentioned it before we went live, is the Kraber in competitive play. It's a big thing for Team Vizio. Obviously, they're putting it in Fury's hands as often as they can. It's interesting because typically I would frame this discussion and go, hey, this is a pretty controversial topic to talk about, but I don't know the controversial fits here because it seems like the consensus from the pro community is, hey, get it out of pro play.
Yeah. It is the consensus. And, you know, there are very few esports where I think like wholesale items have been removed, right, out of competitive play. So I don't know if there is an actual kind of like standard for that. Like, could EA do that? Could Respawn do that and just make sure it's removed? But the thing is, we do have precedent in Apex Legends alone, right? The heat shields. We don't have them in competitive Apex Legends, and so why don't we do that as well? What else is it?
It's
the gold res
knockdown. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if we already have that precedent set, right, and the pros are putting their input in it, I think, you know, it is completely valid to be able to remove the Kraber as well. And I don't think, you know, too many viewers are going to be sad that the Kraber's gone. I mean, very few people are going to realize that it's gone. There was one tournament where, this was about a year and a half ago, right, where there was a bug. And so drops just did not happen. World drops did not happen. And no one seemed to realize, other than the players. The players talked about it, of course. They're like, there were no, you know, supply drops for some reason, blah, blah, blah. But, oh wait, this is actually like 2 years ago.
We're throwing back a little bit. We're
This
going
was
early days.
Yeah, this was back on Kings Canyon.
Okay,
when
we're definitely throwing back professional play on not World's Edge.
Yeah,
okay.
And like no one noticed that there was no Kraber in play, and no one complained that there was no Kraber in play. You know, so I think if we got rid of the Kraber, no one, like no viewer really complained about it. Maybe, sure, of course, there's always going to be someone, but it's not going to be a huge outcry like, the pros are always complaining, blah, 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 blah. It's just, I think we should just remove it because now, instead of just the one-shot kill or the potential one-shot kill, we really leave it up to like the skill expression of our players, right? They got to use something like a longbow where you have to get successive shots, right? You need to get a double headshot to knock someone instead of just getting that one Kraber that can also collat, maybe take out 2 people, you know? So like, I think anything that allows for more skill expression in the game, and if that means removing something to increase the skill expression, is something that's healthy for competitive.
Respawn. You heard it from the man himself. I don't know. Take notes. I think it is a discussion that will certainly continue. But let's get to predictions. Obviously, we're taking a bit of a holiday break, and I hope everybody enjoys their holidays. But when we do return in the new year, we'll kick off week number 3 of Season 4. I want to put you on the spot right now, Jamerson. Which is a team that you're definitely going to have your eye on when we come back for the new year?
Right now, of our partnered squads, I'm definitely still looking out for Team Intel. And it's not just because of the Intel buff, but it's just because of these individual players. When I'm taking a look at Petty Boss, I mean, we've seen him as well, growing throughout Series Z, and I think he's finally found basically what needs to work for him, and like finding a roster that's that's stable more than anything else. I think having Series E, having this opportunity to have a very stable roster and be able to really try and grow with that roster is something that Petty Boss sorely missed. And I think this is his opportunity to finally shine. So I want to see what Team Intel can do, and I think they do have so much room for growth as a squad together.
The room is definitely there. I think they have been solid so far this season. I'm definitely looking forward to them continuing to succeed. The team I have my eye on is actually one I've highlighted a couple times since early on in the season. It's going to be Team Excedrin. I actually think they have been, outside of Team Vizio, probably the most consistent squad here so far through the first 2 weeks. It's a carryover from the consistency we saw from them during the qualifiers.
Yeah.
While we've yet to see, again, those top placings, those ones to set them apart, I think Excedrin's been really good. It seems like Kimchi is feeling a lot more comfortable with a roster that seems just more kind of set in stone. Obviously, there was a bunch of ups and downs with the Rockstar roster last season. It seems like Kimchi just is enabled to succeed this time around, and it feels like the roster just front to back is really good, and this is one that I'm keeping my eye on. While they may not necessarily have that big pop-off performance in Week 3, I think they are trending in the right direction, and they're a squad to keep an eye on as the season continues.
Yeah, for Team Excedrin, I definitely agree with you when it comes to like Kimchi Lee, right? Like he seems like he's growing a lot as a player and learning a lot, and that's kind of weird because like typically you want to say, oh yeah, stable rosters, that's great. But the thing is, for a new shot caller coming into Apex Legends, right, he's got 2 separate rosters that he's playing with, right? He just made it through Challenger Circuit, and he's also competing in ESA with 2 separate rosters. And so he has to learn how to be an IGL, and having to, like, I don't know, babysit like 4 other players, right? Like, he's learning a lot, and this is a huge growth of, like, he's learning so much from one roster that he can carry over to this one, and like, it just, there's this weird crossover, and like, I think coming from the Challenger Circuit, he learns a lot of lessons that were applicable to open nights here, and I think he's still trying to convert on that. And then as well, when it comes to the pro night, I feel like it's the kind of same thing for Team Intel and Petty Boss, where it's like when there's more known factors, they can succeed a little bit better, right, with the pro nights. And I think Kimchi Lee is getting better and better about basically downloading all the data, right, about how to make the macro calls, about how teams rotate and stuff like that. And so, like, he's just, I feel like there's a big brain there, you know, and we're just waiting for the results to really, really shine. And so, yeah, I guess it's right for him to be on Excedrin if he's going to have to think a lot and have to deal with all that. So, yeah.
He's got what he needs to deal with those headaches. So, Intel and Excedrin, of course, a couple teams to keep an eye on, but those teams will be back in the new year. Jamerson, good to see you in the studio. Thanks so much for coming to hang out. Obviously, we'll do it again in the future, but it's just great to see your face, to see you live in person.
Like I said, it's great to be back in studio. It's been over a year and a half since I've been in a studio to actually work on something, and it's fantastic. Even though it's just you and I together, there's this energy. I don't know. Do you feel it?
I feel
just
it.
Between you and me, right? It feels great to be able to actually talk to someone, not to be staring at a screen and like kind of just smiling at each other and be like, yes, yeah, I do agree.
As the dude who's been doing his segments exclusively by himself in this studio, I am just as excited. I got to hang out with Vi earlier. I got Jamerson in here. I'm like, I don't have to look at a screen. I could just hear him in the room.
And the thing is, like, it's so cool. Like, of course, that we have the new Series Z thing going on with Guilty Gear and Alex Valle, just because, you know, you were talking about my history with Esports Arena. I was here, well, in Santa Ana, right? For Wednesday night fights.
Throwback,
I was there every single night, and it was so much energy. So I'm so glad that, like, we're sticking to our roots. We're sticking to supporting like grassroots esports and like really building up the competition that way. And so like I'm really glad that we get to do this here. I'm glad that we get to do Series E with Guilty Gear now as well. So I'm really looking forward to watching more of that.
I think we need to sign a third caster influencer from the Apex scene so that we can roll Team Esports Arena 2.0 with you and Tony and whoever that third person is. I think there's a future here, Jamerson. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too big brain. But obviously, big thank you to Jamerson for coming into the studio. We are going to talk some Halo Infinite next, but that wraps it up for Apex Legends. We're going to a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap the show talking about Halo. We'll see you in a few.
go down to United 1.
I just have to point it out. Snakebite gonna come out on top, and now the damage has been done. G2's on their back.
The series to go the distance, and that means Optic Gaming needs to wake up. It appears that they've started to do so.
All right, everybody, welcome back here. So once again, we're talking Halo Infinite this time around. Of course, if you missed the announcement last week, Series E is coming to Halo Infinite. We are all incredibly excited about this opportunity, and Tyler Endress and I, the CEO and founder of Esports Arena, talked about it in depth last week, that this is really Esports Arena going back to its roots. The entire idea and the early seeds of this company started with Tyler competing in Halo 2 back in college, and now coming full circle here in 2021, announcing Series E Halo Infinite. It is really kind of an awesome continuance of this journey for Esports Arena. So super excited about that. We'll talk about it even further here, but we've got to talk about what really kicked everything off, and it was the Series E 25K Halo Infinite launch event that we hosted last Saturday. We had 16 teams coming through, some of the best Halo talent in the entire world, just a week ahead of the HCS Raleigh Major. Came to hang out with us and play some incredible Halo. Let's see how it all went down.
Hola. So we have a $25,000 Halo tournament. That's right, Halo Infinite. Ever heard of it?
3, 2, 1. Your mics are on, casters. You guys are in there.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Saturday and welcome to the Series E Esports Arena Halo Infinite 25K launch event. We got them all in there.
We got the Halo Infinite launch invitational, and Clutch, to be honest, I'm super excited about this because this is the first time that we're going to see international play. We're going to see EU teams, Latin American
so many
North American
opportunities to get angles to gather some of the sandbox. It seemed like PK just had so much momentum, so many things go right, so much control of the map, and somehow still not able to really run away with the lead on a map like this. It's at the extent of their winner's bracket opportunity, their run today. It looks like it's going to have to go through the elimination side, because 21-9, a killing, it's a big critique, I would say, that we have of Sentinels up until this point, is they may not be the most efficient team when it comes to getting their slate.
And Snakebite going to come out on top with the help of Frosty, and now the damage has been done. G2's on their back foot. They're back spawning B. Frosty lining them all up, gets the double perfect. So that he didn't have to be the one that had it.
Especially when it comes to starting strategies. You saw Optic heavily invest resources towards that shotgun side of the map. What do? They're able to get the shotgun and now put it to work. Having Trippy come over here towards the B stronghold, get that first shotgun kill. He's been running rampant ever since. Jumps up, finishes the player that was in A. And now he's going to look up to get back.
To this tonight. I thought I was doing some analyst work. I'm over here ready to break down the stats. I got my notes and wow. Thank you so much for that amazing video. That was absolutely incredible, and it truly is an honor to be able to work with you all.
On the Snakebite begging for help. You have to think someone is going to be near him, and here comes the collapse from two of the members of Sentinels. The kills coming through. Frosty already with 5 to his name. Make it a 6 with a killing spree. The snipe, it's out of ammo. You know Frosty was doing work if that's the case. Rule 2 finds one of his own. The ball carrier goes down again. APG is over. They are no slouch when it comes to their opportunity here in Halo Infinite, but right now Sentinels have no concern to who their opponent is. They have every bit of power, but with Frosty pushing into the big door right now, he's going to look. He's going to snipe the ball guy, lands the body shot, the double kill comes through, and the highlight reel of Frosty might be what we showcase as the last dying moments of Optic Gaming in this tournament. 8 seconds.
Where's the push coming from? They only have 3 seconds to do it. They aren't able. Sentinels with a statement in the grand finals. 6-1 map count as they are your $25,000 winners. 10,000 split between the 4. What a series to witness.
Here, folks, it's been a long day for myself, the entire live broadcast crew, everybody here at Esports Arena. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We'll see you again next time. An awesome look there at all of the action from our 25K tournament last weekend. And as I mentioned, some of the best Halo talent in the world. Seeing Optic and Sentinels in grand finals was certainly an absolute blast. Great action throughout the day. A long tournament, but something that was certainly well worth all of the time. And absolutely enjoyed looking at that. I do want to talk a little bit about that, though. Let's bring up the top 8 graphic here, because I do want to talk about some talent, because I feel like it's a bit of a precursor to some of the folks we may see in Series E in the future. Here's how the top 8 bracket went down. Optic was dominating throughout the tournament, and so was Sentinels, and they met in winners finals, and Optic in fact took winners finals. Sent Sentinels down to the lower bracket, but that was just Sentinels getting the time to build some momentum. Other big teams down there, Cloud9 looking really good until they fell to the KCP, Kansas City Pioneers, who were taken down by Inconceivable, which we now know is the FaZe Clan roster. We got Sentinels and Inconceivable in losers finals. Sentinels end up taking that one 3-1, and then we saw the match we had all been waiting for, the rematch between Optic and Sentinels had been able to build that momentum. 6-1 in map count in grand finals. They get the reset, they get the victory, and they dominated, and it's set up for obviously some huge storylines going into the HCS major in Raleigh this weekend. Of course, things did change a little bit. We saw the announcement from the HCS, so Sentinels lost their seed and do have to play through pool play without Royal 2, but still, we're expecting to see Sentinels getting up into the big bracket at the end of this major, and we're expecting a rematch between those two, and this was an incredible precursor to that. And obviously, on land, things can certainly change. Optic is going to be so hungry to get back at that Sentinels roster here out in Raleigh, and super excited about that. Do want to give a special shout out to our friend and recent signing here. Why not? Our friend Tony is out in Raleigh this weekend, casting, enjoying all the fun with Shyway and Clutch as well. So big shout out to them. We hope they enjoy the weekend. Make sure to tune into those streams as well. They've been going all day today over at twitch.tv/Halo and twitch.tv/HCS. Don't miss any of the action. We've been watching it all day here in Irvine. We've been enjoying it, getting to hear Tony and Shyway casting, getting to see them on screen, standing a few feet away from each other is so beautiful. Obviously, lands are returning, and it's so much fun to watch. So congratulations to all of them, everybody over at the HCS and Halo teams. All the work that has been put in is awesome, and seeing the fruits of that labor coming here with Raleigh is so much fun. We're so excited to be involved in it, and we're looking forward to Series E coming in the future. But as we get ready to wrap the show, I've mentioned it a couple times, we are going on our holiday break. This is our final show of 2021. It's cool to get to wrap things up. But if you're looking forward to when we return, here is your Series E schedule when we come back. We'll be back with Open Night and Pro Night for Series E Apex Legends on Tuesday, January 4th and Wednesday, January 5th at the usual time, 4 p.m. Pacific time, right here at twitch.tv/esports arena. In terms of Guilty Gear, Open Night, Wednesday night fights will return that Wednesday. That'll be over at twitch.tv/leveluplive, so don't miss out on that. And then, of course, the big boys, the 16-man bracket comes back that Thursday, January 6th, again, 4 p.m. Pacific time. So that is your schedule for the return of Esports Arena and Series E content in the new year. And of course, I'll be back on all of those shows and with Series Recap that Friday. That's January 7th, so don't miss out on that. Love getting to come in, talk with Jamerson, Valle, and all this incredible talent, break down everything that's going on with Series E. It's a lot of fun, so I'm looking forward to doing it once again in the future. But we're ready to wrap things up. We're wrapping up 2021. It's been a crazy year here for us at Esports Arena. It's been a blast to share it with all of you. Do want to let you know, please have a happy and safe holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We'll be back in 2022. That's the first edition of Series E Recap. Series Recap. I already messed it up on the first show. What do you know? That's the first edition of Series Recap, folks. Enjoy your holidays. Have a good one.